All right, it says we're live. Now, let us just see. Yeah, all right. There we are. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. If you are watching this live, you are watching Sassy Seer Sheila. If you see this later after this live, you will be, well, you could be watching it on Sassy Seer Sheila, but you also might see it on New Light Streaming Love. I will be uploading this after the fact to New Light Streaming Love. Both of those channels are channels I'm involved with. So I've been taking turns between the different channels. Today is Monday, April the 7th, 2025. And so as I was getting ready to do this live stream this morning, I was nudged to turn on Zoom and hit record. And so that will come out immediately following this. But I'm wondering if that means that we're going to see something about what I was um, contemplating in today's reading. And the overall theme of that contemplation, as I kept, thinking about it after I turned off the recording, I was like, what is it? What was that all about? And one of the things I heard uh, in here was it's about sovereignty. And so, very interesting. The first deck that I grabbed to start shuffling is the hero's journey, and the card that came out is Knights of the Round Table. We have to become our own Knight of the Round Table. I'm feeling, part of this whole ingress of Neptune into Aries has to do with sovereignty, right? And that theme is something that now I can see as I look back over the last several years, something that it was almost as though I was feeling that energy before the ingress, before I learned about what this next magnetic, energetic pull would be, right? And so I find it kind of interesting because, like I said, as I was continuing to contemplate what I was nudged to record, because I always ask myself, what was that about? And it is all about sovereignty. It's about not allowing others to inform you, not me, not your teacher, not your boss, not your husband, not your anybody really. Um, More looking into things for oneself and choosing to hear things, well, partly to hear things from the horse's mouth. I mean, if there's assumptions that are going to be made, I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. The surrender card that came out is surrender to complete healing. Open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual well being. The truth of this right here is, for me, wow, this actually came up yesterday too. I've I've had some interactions with a new friend, and she was sharing with me that she was sharing in a medical setting that had been working on a situation with her body with energy. And she was told, "Oh, I don't believe in any of that kind of stuff. I stick with Jesus." And she said, she said she wished she had thought about it, because didn't he do some energetic healing? I mean, and didn't he also say that you will go on to do the things I do and more? And I believe there is a quote to that effect in the Bible. Um, but I get it. Um, so that's very interesting because that comment right there, it's not something that that person has gone on to explore for themselves. They've allowed something they've been told to inform their worldview or their belief instead of, well, in that case, it's right there in the Bible. But, of course, when you look at things out of context, I don't know, that's very interesting to me. Um, Devotion to the small. That's very interesting. So I don't know. Like I said, it's all about trusting oneself and the universe. The universe is divine. And I don't know. There's lots of themes like that coming up for me. I wonder how you all, what's coming up for you as you contemplate things. Or are you having these? Because when I see folks accept something just on the basis of, because this person over here went to school for it, and so they must know more than me, and therefore I'm just going to believe everything they say. um I just wonder about that. Hello there, Andres. Did you I believe I sent you something. Did you receive my email? Chris Duncan, Magnetic Mind. Okay. I've not heard of that. Um, I'll have to look that up. We had two cards come out from the fairies: the Lady of the Harvest and the Friends. But yeah, I'd love to hear from folks. What is coming up for you to contemplate? Where are you? And I also would like to know, because I'm finding this to be very true. I had it happening yesterday, and I'm finding it happening right here and now again. Yesterday during the collective reading, I was having waves of, and it doesn't last, but it's like a momentary dizziness almost, a feeling of euphoria or being high when, I'm not at all. I've had coffee and my protein shake this morning is what I've had, and water. Oh my goodness. This card came out yesterday. And I've been shuffling, so I'm going to see what else will come out with that, but I find that very okay. So part of yesterday's reading was all about frequency And so I'm being pointed again to my voice. I feel like that's pointing me again to my voice and how my voice actually will activate others, but most specifically myself. And also the elephant came out, and the key word here is leadership. Yeah, okay. All right, so one more deck. What happened to it? Where'd it go? Oh, it's right behind my water. So yeah, what's coming up for you, Andres, as you're in your contemplations? What are you um and do you notice any sort of an overall theme? Because that's kind of interesting to me that as I was contemplating um that this morning and decided, was asked to record it to share, as I ask after I turned the recording off, what was that about? The theme of sovereignty presented itself. Now, the animal oracle wants to go first. The divine animals oracle. We had this card yesterday. The key words here was song lines. It's the orca. And I'm not going to read this card again. If you want to hear the whole part of this card, just go to yesterday. I think it was about the first, might have been the first card, maybe not. But I feel like yesterday's was all about frequency and pointing me to my voice in particular. And then after that, um, after that live, my friend had arrived. Actually, she was sitting on the front porch as I was finishing up the live. I did not know that. I did not know that she was there during the live. But as we were chatting, my voice put her into a particular state that she said she found quite blissful. So it's quite interesting. I do know, I'm quite aware that, and that ain't. It took me a few years to understand what I was being asked to see about my voice. But it is part of why when I'm nudged to record things, there's a reason. I'm not always going to know the reason. I'm not always going to know who needs to hear it or when they will hear it or what it will activate in their field. But it is part and parcel that I carry an aspect of the Archangel Gabriel, and therefore my voice tends to do that. Not to everyone and not in every single instance either. I'm not the translator for everybody. I have come to feel that we all have translators and we never know who they are. And you may never actually meet your translator. You will just hear something and a particular concept will click for you. And it's very possible that that person was a translator for you. That's my feeling about it. Okay, so the divine animal oracle, this is elephant, and that's a picture of Ganesha there, I believe. There is a time to step forward and lead. And that's, like I said, the key word on this card is leadership. And it is now. Be the leader in your own life. If you want something achieved, take the lead yourself. Well, that's right about sovereignty, all about sovereignty as well, isn't it? Don't just accept what anybody else tells you. Don't just accept take your own lead. If you want something achieved, take the lead yourself. Be the example that others will follow. Do, wow, and I even wrote something to that effect on Facebook to somebody in particular today. Do not lead by force, but instead by inspiration. And mine was talking about being the example. The Hindu god Ganesha was shaped from the earth by the goddess Pavarti. When her husband Shiva returned after a long time away from home, the first thing he saw was a handsome young man with Pavarti. In his anger, he attacked the young man, severing his head. Pavarti then revealed who Ganesha was, and Shiva sent his soldiers to return with the head of any sleeping being that was facing the north. An elephant was found, and its head was attached to the body of Ganesha. The life of Ganesha was restored, and Shiva declared that from then on, this elephant-headed young man would always be loved by the community, and his name invoked a joyful blessing prior to the beginning of major undertakings such as businesses, developments, and projects of all kinds. It would be Ganesha who made sure no obstacles would be placed in the way of righteous actions, but it was also he who placed obstacles to encourage people to take different directions. Today, Ganesha is one of the most loved of all Hindu gods. Everywhere you turn in modern India, there is the joyful elephant-headed deity balancing on one leg, often riding a mouse, pushing away your worries and negativity and leading you toward the best path possible. Elephants are richly represented in mythos in Africa and Asia. Most tales speak of their wisdom and strength and their ability to guide through difficult circumstances. The animal. There are 3 species of elephants living on Earth at present: the African bush elephant, the African forest elephant, and the Asian elephant. All species of elephants have long prehensile trunks they use for breathing, food gathering, and communicating, and to collect water for drinking and washing. The trunk is also used in combination with the body for pushing objects out of the animal's path. Elephants have amazing padded feet that are designed to spread their weight over a wide area and enable them to move very silently considering their size. They vocalize both sonically and infrasonically, low frequency. Scientists have measured infrasonic communications of African elephants from 15 to 35 hertz with sound pressure levels as high as 118 decibels. I think that's how you pronounce that, dB. Decibels. Thank you. I just heard the correct word in my head, decibels, allowing communication for up to 10 kilometers through the ground. While humans may not be able to understand what these calls mean, they can certainly perceive the vibrations. Elephants live in family groups and often join with other family groups to form large herds. These are matriarchal. Oh, so are the orca. We learned that yesterday with the orca. They also and they will also join with other matriarchal pods to become a larger pod. I wonder if they're also called herds. Okay, can't unsee that. Wonder what that's all about. I guess we'll learn that a little later on in this reading, more than likely. These are matriarchal and are led by an experienced older matriarch. She holds the landscape memory for the group, often being able to lead them to water in times of scarcity, and will be the organizer of defense if the group is threatened. Elephants are highly intelligent and demonstrate a rich emotional life. They openly mourn their dead and revisit the skeletons of those they once knew who have died. I actually saw a video about that. It was about a human caretaker who had died, and elephants who had been rehabilitated from an injury and then released back into the wild would come and visit. And then once that caretaker had passed, they had come and mourned at the place where the caretaker had lived. The magic. Elephant magic is powerful yet calm. It can be used when you wish to have obstacles removed or to move out of a limbo situation. Elephants are wise and take leadership, which is where their magic is so effective. If you wish to become a better leader, or at least a wiser one, or you would like to attract such a person into your life, ask for the elephant to lend her energy to you. The symbology, yes, a rich emotional life. That feels significant to me as well, Andres. We don't tend to think of that where animals are concerned. But just the very fact of what I shared about how they came to mourn the caretaker after his death and how they knew he was gone is anybody's guess. But they showed up after having been, if I'm not mistaken, they hadn't been there in quite some time, these elephants. And it was at least one of them, of the group that showed up, had been rehabilitated there after an injury. So that in and of itself shows a rich emotional life. The symbology: elephants with a raised trunk, elephant-headed boy, warrior with an elephant head, elephant with a mouse. Well, I know that it is said that statues with the raised trunk of an elephant represent good luck. Now, I don't know that to be a fact, but I've always heard that. The status: African elephants are vulnerable, mainly due to poaching. Asian elephants are endangered due to habitat destruction. Yeah, it's a shame what's happening to elephants in Africa. It's because of their tusks. They're hunted because of their tusks. It's the ivory that those tusks are is highly prized, and unfortunately, poachers do horrible things to them. So the Alchemy Elementals wants to go next. Water, Spring, Moon is the card. We've never had this one. Page 43, which is a 7 numerologically. It's a beautiful card. Oh, wow. Okay. And this feels significant to me as well because as a matter of fact, Andres, if you haven't, I'm pretty sure I just emailed you. You didn't say whether or not you got it. Did you check your email from consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com and see if you got my email? It has several attachments, and I just found a site that gives a person's birth a sacred animal that's based on their birth. And I just learned just recently when I found that to add to the blueprint stuff that I sent for you, um, that my animal is the snake. So I find it very interesting that here we have a snake, not the experience of beauty of all, full of emotional instinct. I agree. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. So this card says there is a special essence that can only be found in the depths. By venturing beneath the surface and by braving the unknown that awaits us there, we cultivate an expanded sense of awareness that gives rise to new thoughts, fresh feelings, and profound understandings. I'm being shown that part of that is what I was doing this morning. Huh. Yeah, sometimes just sitting and staring around and thinking is it contemplating is the thing. Okay, I'm glad. I just wanted to make sure that you had received it because sometimes my emails get, lost either in spam or just never arrive. These enhanced perceptions magnetize the essence of awakening, gifting us the ability to tap into new skills, extrasensory powers, and magic. You are emerging from the depths, my dear. Allow the energy of renewal to expand your perceptions and to heighten your sensitivities. You are awakening to your spiritual powers. New heights, greater expanses, and fresh magic are here for you now. Be still, move slowly, and allow yourself to integrate and to synthesize the divine treasures that you have gathered. Wow, these readings are for me. And if because I don't make announcements, because I don't advertise, if someone finds themselves here, and it doesn't matter about the date or the day or whatever, there's generally something here for you as well. But I take all of this in, and I know that this said is true because I feel completely different of late. I know I'm in a different body again, but it's like there's a more expanded awareness, more of my expansive self has entered the physical vessel. And I take this specifically for me because, again, I just learned that the snake is it is purported to be my sacred animal. So it's kind of interesting to me that show up. Not that I am fond of snakes. I grew up in Florida, so, I was always taught to steer clear of the snakes. So that's kind of interesting. And I want to say this about the surrender card that came out, surrender to complete healing. I know that instantaneous healing can happen. I've experienced that. And so I want to go on record as calling that in now for myself. rather than having a slow slog. You know what I mean? Because if all is mind, then it is simply my belief that keeps it at bay. So, okay, so the Lady of the Harvest wants to go first. Card number 18, which is a 9 numerologically. The end of a cycle. Lady of the Harvest. Completion, grief, loss, harvest, release. After we have experienced the nurturing and fulfillment of the bright mother, the Lady of the Harvest, also called the Old Woman or Crone, helps us to let go of what is finished and liberate ourselves to move on to the next phase of our activities and relationships. Okay, so that's all about becoming sovereign as well, in my view. Putting down what doesn't serve. I'm well aware that there's an astrological happening this weekend that will affect me specifically. So that's very interesting. All of that is very interesting to me. As in the natural world, the old becomes compost for the new growth in our lives. The Lady helps us to adapt to change and release. Often we associate the Lady of the Harvest with loss, regret, and grief, and often we are right to do so. The basic phases of grief are shock or denial, anger, guilt, emotional storm, acceptance, regaining of perspective, the beginning of healing, and the deepening of our capacity for love. The Lady of the Harvest understands grief and is patient and kind as we go through the sometimes painful process of letting go. And I do feel that there are some things that I'm being asked to contemplate letting go, right? So that's very interesting. We may as well need to be patient and kind with ourselves. Yeah. I have had a tendency to be patient and kind to others and not so much myself. So that's a true statement. We should note here that the grieving process is the same for little losses and large ones. Only the time scale and the intensity of the emotions vary, but they vary enormously. We might go through all the grieving stages of a small loss in a few minutes, while it may take years for a greater loss. That's true too. Uh-huh. On the other side of this letting go business, there are many things that make us lighter and happier when we release them. Old traumas, tasks, or stages in our lives that we are glad to have finished, unhappy relationships, or feelings that cause us pain and inhibit our growth. Sometimes we simply comfortably finish with one aspect of our lives and move on to the next happily anticipated one. Such releases are cause for celebration, and the old woman joyfully celebrates with us. In this card, we see both the patient acceptance of loss and the joyful celebration of liberation. When we liberate something in ourselves or in the world, we grow to be more like the Lady of the Harvest, developing her capacities within us. It is time to accept change, to move on to the next phase. power and strength in the present and future come from releasing the past. This is a time of liberation, and we might as well cooperate with it. It will happen whether we want it to or not. Release and liberation may be painful or joyful, depending on the circumstances. Cry if you need to, joyful if that is appropriate. But in either case, trust the process. Acknowledge what you feel and prepare to move on. Wow. Well, and that's true too, even if it's loss. Even if it is loss. Because, hey, for myself, I know I've been, I have in the past held that such loss like death. I have no idea what it actually truly is. I only know what I've been told. Because I personally, while it is said that I did die on the table, I don't have any cognizant memory of it. And so I really view it as a transformation from one stage of being to another. I know with all of me that we are eternal beings. That which calls itself Sheila may cease to exist, but that which actually animates the vessel won't and doesn't. So this card is card number 46, numerologically a 1, which is the I am. So kind of interesting. We go from 9 to the 1, which is starting a new cycle, right? And interesting, she wanted to go first of these two. And the key, it's called the Friends. And the key word here is friendship, support, and aid. The one on top is fair enough. And I've already told you all that he wants me to say about him in the introduction to part 2. He and Lao Chan, his high-speed friend beneath, are the best of friends and can nearly always be found together. Call upon fair enough and you get Lao Chan as well. When you need support or to better understand true friendship, do call upon them. As children, we all have fairy playmates and fairy guardians. I can attest to that. I do remember my interactions with the fairies. I was sent away for them, for reporting all about them. I was called a liar. The whole thing. Yeah. As we grow older, the pressure of parents and others in our community often nag us into blocking our visions of and communications with the fairies. Too true. Fair enough and Lao Chan can help us go back to that childlike trust in the fairies and to renew our forgotten friendships with them. Well, I know that I have been asked to re-establish my communication with them. And so I have not done that, not in any real sense of the word. So perhaps, too, that is something that I'm being asked to do right now. They can also often help us to learn more about the true meaning of friendship. Hands outstretched reach across the rushing water. You steady me, I steady you on the slippery rocks of time. Hands reaching, giving, and giving in return. I am so grateful to you for being there. I could never have managed alone. Friendly cooperation with others is necessary to reach mutual goals. Willingness to give and receive assistance and support is also required. Ask friends for help and suggestions. Listen with respect and accept the gifts willingly offered. Unconditional receiving is even more difficult than unconditional giving. And I know that to be true for my own self. I don't have any problem giving, but I have had trouble receiving. 4 feet are more stable than 2. Alternatively, fair enough and Lao Chan may be saying that you will benefit at this time from offering support and aid to a friend. Look around you. Someone you love may be needing your help and be too bound up by fear of rejection or pride to ask. Volunteer your help to your friends and give unconditionally from a generous, loving heart. It will do you good, increasing your store of credit for help in time of need, and it might even help them. I wholeheartedly agree with that. As a projector in the human design system, I am someone who must be invited. I am known in that system as a guide or a seer. However, I must be invited. And so I'm constantly telling folks I'm available, but I won't I used to just show up and do stuff, and it wasn't very well received. And I would come away very bitter from it. And I understand now why, because you have to wait for the invitation. Folks will let you know if they really want your help. And if they want your help and they don't ask, it's for them to learn to ask. In my view, that's just my view. Doesn't mean I'm right. Your individual mileage will absolutely vary. Now, I'm so very interested about this card that came out this morning, the Knights of the Round Table. I've already done that one. This is the one. We've not had this card at all. And I don't know if you can, yeah, you can. You can see it on there. You can barely see them around that light. But they're there. Those figures are there. But it is a bright light. And it says, let their love lift you higher. And this too, card number 18. So that is a 9, another end of the cycle. There's a quote here from Denzel Washington. Show me a successful individual and I'll show you someone who didn't want for positive influences in his or her life. I don't care who you are or what you are doing for a living. If you do it well, I'm betting there was someone cheering you on and showing you the way. Okay. The message of this card. Envision the people you most admire now and throughout history, seated at a round table with you and your life as their sole focus. Allow your personal Knights of the Round Table to offer guidance on your current circumstance, goals, and aspirations. Lean on their strength, knowing it is a sign of courage, not weakness, to be buoyed by visible and invisible ones who love you. Feel the unique way they infuse you with a direct transmission of wisdom from on high. Marinate in their individual and collective brilliance. Allow yourself to feel, sense, and see genius, gently yet powerfully wrapping itself around you, lifting you higher than you could ever do on your own. Ooh, I like that message. And I think that's a brilliant idea. It's a way of contemplating that. Andre said establish communication. Yes. So there's a dream symbol here of guide. Dreams of a guide, life coach, guru, or leader. Interesting that the other card, the Ganesha card, was all about leadership, isn't it? Dreams of a guide, life coach, guru, or leader of any kind signify that you are connecting with the way shower within you. Everyone in your dreams is you, so dreaming of a guide brings a direct infusion of insight, clarity, and wisdom that is more powerful than any external source could provide. Honor this dream by taking concrete action in the waking world. Your dream guide comes to inspire and assist you on your hero's journey. There's a mantra here: with my personal knights by my side, I am protected, loved, lifted, and carried. I just love this card too. I mean, that is just wow. Yesterday's reading was really good, but I gotta say today's is just as good if you ask me. Okay, our final card is from the Journey of Love, Devotion to the Small. Card number 32, numerologically, that's a 5. 5 is all about change for me. It is a very special number to my friend Crystal Hemphill, which, if you're not familiar with Crystal, let me just say she is having another surgery May 19th, and we're going to get together and come up with some ways of fundraising for her. She's a single parent. This is a spinal surgery. She had an accident that she had spinal surgery last year, and she was doing pretty good. And then there was an accident, and somebody ran a stop sign and further injured her. And so now there's got to be another surgery. And so that means time off from work. And so, anything that we can do to assist her. She has, artwork. She has all kinds of things that she's created, T-shirts. If you go to www.knewlightstreaming.love, which is our website, and follow the links for Journey Into It, you'll see everything that she has to offer. She has created a light language course that you can take. She has created a shadow work course that you can take. And any and all of these things would help to support her during that time. And so stay tuned for that. We're going to do some stuff. I don't know what all we're going to do or how that's going to look or whatever, but I'm interested in helping her raise some funds. Perhaps we'll even do a GoFundMe for her because I'm not quite sure how long she's not going to be able to go to work after this surgery. So this card is Devotion to the Small. She bows. She honors growth. She sees that within the smallest flower, there is the teaching of the earth, the gospel of Gaia, the mystery of life demonstrated. She recognizes that she too is of nature. My gosh, this whole thing is making me think of Crystal because that's so true. Subject to the mysteries of growth and life, that in honoring nature, in taking pleasure in life, she opens her heart to allow great creation to happen through her. This is the feminine wisdom, alive in men and women with open hearts. There is an innate wisdom within you that understands this devotion to the Earth Mother as an important step in fulfilling your spiritual destiny on this planet. She is speaking to you now, letting you know that there is a small change happening, something that is growing within you that you may recognize but not think is so important. Yet she tells you now that it is very significant. Soon you will see that what you thought was a seed of manifestation, gratitude, and love for the small changes happening are leading you into fullness that you can only dream of. Enjoy. The message of this oracle for you is that your blossoming is occurring now, and the Earth Mother has gratitude for your presence within her being, for the work you are doing to help other human beings. She asks for you to surrender any concern you have to her, to let her creative power continue to gently guide you into your rightful place in the world, that you may shine as you were born to do, in service to the evolution of this planet. She is helping you now. Trust her. A flower is a poem that tells you the truth of a thought in the fragrance of a dream, as fleeting as a heartbeat, as lasting as a memory. Sorry. That's pretty profound, man, if you ask me. Wow. Well, I really hope this reading this morning was helpful to you, because it sure was to me. All of these, I'm so glad I've decided to come back and do this every day, because it's so helpful to me. And if you found anything here helpful, I'm so glad. I maintain that if you're drawn here, doesn't matter when, whether it was live or later, I just know there'll be something in it for you. Hit me up, Sheila. Send me a Zoom link at whatever time you want, and I'll make the time. Oh, sweetheart, you just let me know. It's easier for me if you tell me when you're the most available, and then I can make that happen. I can't do it today. Well, I might be able to do it a little later on today. If you're free today, we could do it today. But you're 3 hours behind me. So see, that's why I say, because you're in California, aren't you? Or no, you're in Arizona. Well, obviously I'm confused. You send me an email, return email, and let me know your time zone and whether or not sometime today would work for you. And give me at least an hour's notice, an hour or two notice. And we can make it happen today if you're still here. I never know, because this thing is a little bit behind. So that's it for me today. I hope you found this helpful. You I will be putting out my little thoughts thing this morning. It's a shorty, but I look for more of that to happen. I feel like that's gonna become a thing. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. Personally, I feel like that is how you will discover your purpose. It's because we are both available. Hit me up at whatever time today. Okay. All right. So give me an hour from now. So my 1 o'clock, which just an hour from now, give me an hour from now, Andres, and we'll meet in Zoom. Yeah, because if you are what if, and I really maintain this, what if the whole idea, because if there really is only the one that seeks to express itself in a myriad of unique ways through this physical vessel, which is what I really feel is happening here, and you move towards that which brings you joy, what if that is because then you're exuding joy all the time? Could you imagine what it would be like if you encountered folks that never had a bad day? First of all, what a difference that would make on the planet. I mean, okay, anyway, that's it. I love you guys. Till we meet again. Mwah. Be well.